All right, good evening, everybody. I am back again, back in the flesh. So this is going to be part two of the Reliable Representation Talk Show. As y'all know, I now do. I'm in class during the original show, so I always come back and kind of do a recap of what was talked about on the show, and all right. I'm getting everybody lined up. But I'll always come back through and I do a recap. And so that's what I am here to do. I'm here to spend a little time with y'all to do a recap. Y'all, for some reason, I'm trying to get people here. I have been having issues with our streaming platform. For some reason, it hadn't been pushing it out the way that it should, and I want to make sure that everybody. Normally, if I go live off of Facebook, just go Facebook Live, it'll propagate and get the people in here. So I want to make sure that everybody come in and just be a part of this discussion that we're going to have. When you get in here, just let me know you in here. I can't see. I'm going to make sure that the people are able to get in and that y'all can hear me loud and clear before we really go into it. And it's going to be a very, very interesting show this evening. And one thing that we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about free speech. And what is free speech? What does free speech look like? And I feel it's important that we start talking about free speech because as we can see all over the country, we're seeing instances where free speech is under attack all the time. What's going on, Mama Bear? Miss Clearman over there in Meridian holding it down. You are doing an amazing job over there, Miss Clearman. Stay strong. Like I told you yesterday, stay strong because when you start speaking up, that's when they start attacking you. And Ms. Clearman, I've been attacked, and I'm gonna let everybody know how I've been attacked in just a moment. But it's a saying. My grandmother used to always say it is a hit dog don't holler. And so when you start seeing people hollering and complaining and doing whatever they can, they're doing it because they're afraid. You're getting too close to victory. You're getting too close to exposing the wrongdoing that they're out there doing. And so Ms. Clearman, as I tell you all the time, stay strong, keep your head held high. Do not back down for any reason because people are going to do what they can to silence you. And when we talk about free speech, that's the backbone of our country. Thank you so much, Ms. Tillman. For me, transparency is key. It's not always pretty, and I know after I get off this live tonight, I'm gonna get phone calls, text messages, threats, all kind of stuff. You shouldn't say this and you shouldn't say that. But that's the problem. That's how we've gotten to where we are right now because people are afraid to speak up because they're afraid of retaliation. But I can't sit here and allow people to continue to hurt and suffer when I know something. Like this, if you know something, say something, do something. And so that's why I put all the facts out there. And as I'm putting things out there, this is not to attack a person. It's definitely not to attack the character, but it's about to put out what they're doing. As elected officials, we are accountable to the public. The public elects us. That goes to judges as well, which I'm going to be getting on Judge Crystal Wise Martin in just a moment. But that goes to judges as well. If you're elected by the people, you're subjected to public scrutiny. Now, intimidation should not be tolerated. Bullying should not be tolerated. Defamation should not be tolerated. Those things are off limit. And that's something I've never done to anybody, nor will I ever do it. But I will tell the truth about the facts and the things that people are doing, which I have, been talking about the things that she, has been doing. Every single thing that I've said about that judge is in black and white. It's on paper. It's all documentation. That's one thing I won't do about anybody. I hear about so many things on a daily basis, but I won't go public on something unless I've vetted that problem and I know that it really is an issue and I've done the background because I've worked too hard to establish my credibility in a relationship and not in a relationship and my credibility and my y'all help me with the word, my credibility and my gosh, I'm losing words here. My credibility and help me with the synonym I'm looking for, y'all. My character, yes. I worked too hard on that to just throw it away on garbage putting lives out on people, doing things of that sort. But that's it. It's like we said, keep records of everything. Paper trails are important. That's it. Everything I say, anytime y'all hear anything come out of my mouth, I guarantee you, if you question me about it, I can give you character. Thank you so much, Ms. Stillman. Character. Y'all, it's been a long day. I've been up since 4:30 this morning. And reputation. Y'all got it. Reputation and character. Thank you, Mr. Williams. And so, but anything I say, I can back it up because I have the facts. If I don't have the facts, I say, well, y'all, this is what I heard. I don't know if it's true. It may be, it may not be, but don't take it to the bank. But when it comes to Judge Crystal Wise Martin, Chancery Court judge here in Hinds County, every single thing that I've said about her is proven. It's on paper. I have documentation. I have the receipts to show it. Now I'm going to ease into this just a little bit. So as you know, everybody know, we have a talk show, me and my co-host Brittany Bowman. We have a talk show on 90.1 WMPR. It's called a Reliable Representation Talk Show. Been doing this show almost a little over 2 years, a little over 2 years. And we started doing this show after I was elected to reliable representation, to let people know what's going on in the community, to let people know about legislation. 90.1 is called the voice of the community. That station is there to inform the community, to talk about community events and things that are going on. So it's a platform, and we use it as a platform to keep people informed and keep people advised as to what is going on. Y'all done did something to my thing here. Hold on, y'all. There we go. What is this right here? Y'all, I'm sorry, I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to learn to use technology. But we use it as a platform to let people know what's going on in their community. And so we have been, as you know, we've been talking about a lot of things that's been happening here in the judicial system in Hinds County. And we've been on this for probably about a month or so, just talking about the facts, talking about the press conferences that we've been having, the results from the press conference, certain things about the cases that we've been discussing, at the press conference or whatever have you. And so we've been doing it. Well, as things started heating up, we started getting threats from people calling in, doing all kind of crazy stuff. We know I'm not going to say the names of the people because I'm not going to give them the energy. I'm not going to let them use my platform to become something because they're not anything. And so thank you, Ms. Dollar. Ms. Dollar Sanders says, if everything was done by the book, she have nothing to worry about. Pressure, bust pipes. God is working it all out. Absolutely. That's a great point. But so here in the past few weeks, we started getting threats. It's a whole lot of stuff that's been happening to me. I'm not going to go into that because I'm not worried about it because I'm protected by the best. But all of that to no avail. That has not stopped us. That has not silenced us. Our voices have been heard all across the country. I had a guy reach out from Louisiana today about some stuff going on over in Louisiana. Miss Clearman, she's over in Meridian. She has issues going on in Meridian, and she reached out to us about. We have a lady we're working with down, Miss Myra, down on the Gulf Coast, that's having issues that she's dealing with here in Hinds County, in Judge Crystal Wise Martin's courtroom. And so what's been happening is, since we've been vocal and talking about things, other people have been coming forward saying, hey, this is what happened in the courtroom. This is what she did to me. This is what happened to my family. One thing I'm a firm believer is everybody's not lying on you. When everybody's saying the same thing, everybody's not lying on you. And and the way we're seeing things that are happening now, and y'all, I'm going somewhere with this. But when we look at it's like an uphill battle. When we look at the attacks are continuing and continuing and continuing, when we start seeing that, you know that you are getting right there to victory when you start to see those things happen. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about what happened. And Ms. Bowman, that's in Rankin County. We're gonna get on you in a minute, Ms. Bowman, about Mr. Hops over in Rankin County. Ms. Clement, you've been such a blessing. Thank you so much, Ms. Clement. I mean, that's why I do what I do. I do what I do when at the last press conference we had, when I looked around and saw that we had 6 media outlets there. We had, I don't know how many people, families from people that have been hurt by this judge. When I saw that, I said, this is where I'm supposed to be, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so it's, for me, And I want to be clear on the record because I know this will get back to Judge Crystal Wise Martin, and I hope it does. I mean, I hope she tunes in and watches it. I want her to know that I'm not going to back down until she's giving every single person that comes to their courtroom their fair day in court. Not only with her, any judge, if they're not doing right by the people that's before them, I'm not going anywhere. And this is not to influence or persuade her decision. She's a judge. She's supposed to know the law. She's supposed to be applying the law. I'm asking her to simply apply the law, look at the facts, and apply the law. It's not that I'm on here saying, oh, I want her to, she need to rule this way. She got to do this. No, I'm asking you because I know according to the letter of the law, I've been blessed to become a lawmaker. So I know based upon the letter of the law of all these books here, based upon the letter of the law, if she follows that, every last one of these victims will receive the justice that they deserve to have. So I don't want her going around telling anybody, and she hasn't said this, so let me be correct. I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I'm gonna say this: I don't want anybody to go around saying I'm trying to influence a judicial decision and I'm trying to make a judge do a certain thing, because that's not the case. Now, what I am demanding is that all of our judges do their jobs, whereas our supervisors need to do their jobs, aldermen, every elected official needs to be doing their job. And so when you see that not happening, it bothers me. Now, if we're talking about a supervisor or a city councilman or alderman not doing their job, it's bad that they're not doing their job. But when we talk about a judge, the backbone of our society and legal system that has the authority to break our families up, take our children away from us, and they're not doing their job, you're hurting, you're further traumatizing, children. And for what reason? I mean, I don't know. Let's make it make sense. Now, Ms. Dolly, I'm gonna go back to Ms. Dolly's statement here, y'all. Thank you so much, Ms. Pamela Shields, for this statement. I thank you for tuning in. Thank you for that. So here we go. Ms. Sanders says, if everything was done by the book, she have nothing to worry about. Pressure bust pipes. God is working it all out. So that's it. Now, let me tell you a little bit about judges and with the judicial system. When you're talking about going to court, you're going to have two people, the plaintiff and the defendant. Somebody's going to leave that courtroom not happy. So the party that's not winning, they're going to be not happy because they didn't win their case. Fair enough. Even if they were dead wrong, they're going to be mad because they didn't win their case. So when we look at the judicial system and the way things work, and the reason that it's been hard to get traction on these cases is because when you're talking about an isolated incident, that can be viewed as, oh, that's just a person that's not really happy with the verdict, because that happens. That happens a lot of times. They're not happy with the verdict, and they'll say so and so, so and so, so and so. But let me tell you something. When that happens, and a person is not satisfied with the verdict, if they want to go out and talk about the judge and do this and that, guess what the judge does? The judge does nothing, because the judge is not worried, because the judge know that they followed the letter of the law that they can back up. So they ignore it. As an elected official, as state representative, sometimes people don't like my votes. I might vote a way that they don't like. If they vote a way that I don't like and tell me that they don't like it, I'll explain to them why I voted that way. And I go to bed, I sleep good, and I don't worry about it. But let me tell you what Crystal Wise Martin has done. So she has called the owner of the radio station, WNPR, that we're on every Thursday night, and has told the owner that if we mention her name again on this show, that she's going to sue the radio station, because we cannot give comment on open cases. So if everything's been done right and properly, why would Judge Crystal Wise Martin have a problem with her rulings being discussed, her rulings or lack thereof? Now, she says an open case. Well, it's an open case because guess what? She won't bring the family back to court. She has a motion right now she's been sitting on for 30 days, and she hadn't even answered it. So the case is open, Judge, because you won't close it, because you won't come to a final disposition. Now, this is what I wanted to find out about road rulings, and I talked to a few attorneys about what was going on because I want to make sure that I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not breaking the law. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a judge. And this is what I have. It says judges' rulings can be discussed on a radio show. The First Amendment generally protects public commentary on court decisions, as it is a critical part of a healthy democracy. Let me repeat that. The First Amendment generally protects public commentary on court decisions, as it is a critical part of healthy democracy. So it's promoted that these things be discussed because that leads to a healthy democracy. But I guess I'm not even going to speculate. I don't want to speculate on this. What's permissible? It says the general public and media, journalists, commentators, and private citizens are free to analyze and critique a judge's ruling on a radio show. This is considered protected speech and is an important part of public discourse and oversight of the judicial branch. So, I mean, it says clear as day. Oversight of the judicial branch. Legal experts, lawyers, and law professors often discuss and explain the legal implications of rulings on the radio. Well, that doesn't apply because I don't have anybody's law degree. So critiquing judicial opinions, it is permissible to argue that a judge's ruling was legally incorrect or that their reasoning was flawed. Analyzing a judge's logic in a written opinion is a standard practice. It's right in white right there. Oh, here's my mom on here, y'all. Lee Schaefer. Stand your ground. You have family and a huge following behind you. Thank you, mama. That's it. Y'all, I ain't gonna tell y'all what my mama do. I ain't gonna tell y'all, but yeah, that lady, she gonna fight about her baby now. I can't tell her what the stuff I be going to because she'll be ready to pull up on somebody. But yeah, mom, thank you so much for all of your support. And so just for standing beside me and supporting me and always teaching me to do the right thing. Because that's one thing growing up, my mama, she would fight for anybody, not physically fight. I got to be clear because people love to misconstrue stuff and they're gonna say, well, Fabian Nelson, mama up there fighting people. No, but she has always fought for people and doing the right thing. And hey, that's why I still do it. My mom and dad both did that. And here we go. Miss Sanders, and this is Miss Sanders says, don't forget the motion from August 13, 2024 she had responded to. So she's had a motion on her desk since August 13th that she never even responded to. And I'm gonna say it, Judge Crystal Wise Martin, Judge Crystal Wise Martin, Judge Crystal Wise Martin. And so just like, let me stop because she, remember Candyman, so I don't want to pop in my house. But these are the issues and these are the things. Judge Martin, I mean, and y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, this is why this is so important and why this hurts me. This hurts me because it's a child that's involved, in this. It's a custody case. And to see a person's blatant disregard for their child and that child's well-being, it really bothers me to see that. We're not talking about a piece of land, a car, or a materialistic item that you're in court fighting about, disputing, which just still get the same amount of action. We're not even gonna get on the church that the people have been banned for 4 years. And I don't want to talk much about it because I'm still getting the facts on that, but we don't want to talk about that. But it's a child that's involved. So at the end of the day, and I'm friends with the family, the Sanders family. I'm friends. I pretty much grew up with the child's mother. And so I know this family. I know this child. And I know the case like the back of my hand. And it hurts me knowing that this family has all of this compelling evidence that Judge Martin refuses to hear. And I don't know the reason being. And like I said, I'm not going to speculate as to why she won't or, what the issue is. But I would like to know why she doesn't want anyone to talk about her rulings or, the things that are going on in the courtroom. If you weren't open to public scrutiny, you would have stayed out of public office. That's one thing I knew when I ran for office. I said, Fabian, when you run out there, you're open for public scrutiny. Whatever you do, you're under the spotlight. I'm under the impression that everywhere I go, it's a camera. Everywhere I go, I'm being recorded. So as an elected official, you give up you give up your right to privacy, especially when you're in the duties of your actual job. Now, I'm not out here at over here at Judge Martin's house with a camera recording her coming in at the house and talking about her personal business and all this and that. I don't care about any of that. That's none of my business. That's none of anybody's business. But I'm talking about what I see when she sits up there on that bench and hands down and hands down what's supposed to be justice, but what actually, it is not, is not justice. And so in a nutshell, that's what happened. And so let's see here, y'all. We're gonna have presentation real quick. Let me figure out how I do this. Okay, y'all give me a second, y'all. I'm trying to share screen. I'm trying to get something up here. I'm gonna share the wrong thing. All right, everybody. So this is what we're going to go through. Maybe Mom, I'm gonna take your comment down so everybody can see. All right, so Hinds County custody case prompts call for judicial transparency, accountability. This is by the Mississippi Free Press. And so what I am going to do tomorrow is I'm going to call Mississippi Free Press, and I'm also going to call every single press outlet that covered this, and I'm going to ask them have they received calls or emails or anything from Judge Crystal Wise Martin asking, telling them that her name cannot be mentioned, meaning that they cannot do their job as news outlets. And this is a story, y'all. I want y'all to look at this story. I mean, I posted it. It talks about, and this is why I fight for this family. Dalisa Sanders hasn't seen her grandson in over 1,000 days. Since 2022, she and her daughter, Kenitra, have been fighting to regain custody of 11-year-old at the Hinds County Chancery Court in Jackson, Mississippi. Though they repeatedly expressed concerns and tried sharing new evidence with the court, they say their efforts have been stonewalled by the judge assigned to their case. This is from Ms. Sanders. There's no way we will ever get a fair hearing in Crystal Wise Martin's courtroom, says Sanders, a Hinds County resident who also spoke on her daughter's behalf. We have evidence that she refuses to take into consideration. We have witnesses that she will not allow to speak. One of those witnesses is me, y'all. And I've been there a few times and she never would let me testify. We have filed complaints on her and nothing has been done. Ms. Sanders, how many complaints have you filed? Maybe 3 or 4 with the Judiciary Review Board? Sanders made the remarks during the September 10th press conference where speakers called for greater transparency and accountability. Now, it said we call for what? Greater transparency and accountability from the Chancery Court and the state's broader judiciary. Without adequate oversight or scrutiny, they argue judges have been free to let filed motions collect dust on their desks or arbitrarily dismiss evidence presented in their courtrooms. The Mississippi Free Press is not able to review court documents because, it's a minor, so they couldn't review it. But if they want to see it, we have the files showing to them. Speakers at the September 10th press conference include North Carolina-based civil rights activist John C. Barnett and Fred Chambliss, a local activist and creator of the Whistleblower Project. Let me talk about these men real quick. Mr. John Barnett, all the way from North Carolina, has been out here probably 3 times because he sees the seriousness in this. He's had to come all the way from North Carolina because people right here in Mississippi won't stand up and stand with this family and fight with this family because they're afraid of the backlash that may come from people around here that want to protect the wrongdoing of our judiciary system here. Mr. Fred Chambliss, he's an activist over in Rankin County. He's been there with us. When he found out about he's there at every single thing. We cannot thank Mr. Fred Chambliss and Mr. Leon Seals enough for showing up for us when nobody else would. We are tired of the judges who wear the robe but do not honor the oath. Crystal Wise Martin, you were trusted with the responsibility to serve the people, but instead your courtroom has become a place where justice is denied. Chambliss agreed at the press conference. That's Judge Crystal Wise Martin right here, everybody. When reached for comment, of course, they said that, she can't respond, due to code of conduct and all that, which that's understandable. So I'm not knocking her for that. Chambliss and Barnett described the allegations as part of a broader pattern across Mississippi's criminal justice system. Barnett hosted a press conference in Jackson to demand justice for Kadarius Smith, which is a Black teenager who died last year in Leland, Mississippi, after a police officer ran over him in the cruiser on the clock. We were down to federal courthouse about this, and we're still working on that. In Martin's case, Barnett told reporters that he had received well over 10 complaints from parents in Mississippi and other states accusing the judge of mishandling their custody case. Among them is Roderick Aiken, a Clinton, Mississippi resident who said he's faced repeated court summons for money owed with no explanation of where the balances came from. He hasn't seen his son since January and says his attempts at getting answers from the court have been met with silence. And guess what? She put a gag order on him saying he can't say anything on social media or anything about his case, period, because he put his case on there and he was going viral with his case, and she wanted to shut it down because she didn't want the world to know what was going on. I'm a parent who simply wants to be part of my child's life, Aiken said at the press conference. My hope is that by speaking publicly, I can not only reunite with my son, but also shine a light on how others in similar situations may be struggling in silence. No parent should have to fight this hard to simply be present for their child. Now, y'all, Mr. Akins, I know him. I recently met him. I haven't known him for a long time, but I did see his story back when he was posting years ago. And I saw how the love and the strong bond he had with his child. Y'all, we talk about this all the time. And I got it here in writing, but I'm going to paraphrase it. But Crystal Wise, I'm not sorry. Let me give her the respect she deserves. Judge Crystal Wise Martin in the courtroom, she told Miss Sanders that a little Black boy needs his father in his life. That's what she told Miss Sanders. But you see right here, Mr. Aiken is not able to be in his child's life. So I don't understand why that applied to Miss Sanders' case, but not Mr. Aiken's case. But we're going to come on down. That's a picture from the press conference. And y'all, this Miss Donna Owens right here. I love Miss Donna Owens. She was there. She brought roses and handout to all of the mothers. That was so sweet. The lone elected official at the September 10th event was Mississippi House Representative Fabian Nelson, who highlighted the importance of using his platform to denounce bias and mismanagement within the state's judicial system. He also called on Martin and her peers to make fair and expeditious rulings in custody cases, warning that messy, drawn-out court proceedings can be catastrophic for children and families. When you're sitting in Chancery Court, you should have a fire underneath you to make sure that you're moving that docket. That's the most important thing, Nelson explained. When you have children and you're constantly traumatizing them, this is something they'll never recover from. Judge Crystal Wise Martin, I'm pleading with you today to open your heart up, to look at these cases and give these cases a fair chance to get the right ruling, he added. Now, that's what I asked for. No slander, no nothing. Not swaying her decision, but ask her to open her heart up and give these cases the attention that they deserve. Nelson and Chambers and other event attendees called for increased supervision and scrutiny of judges. So here in Mississippi, there were 481 new complaints filed against judges. 217 of these, and they investigated 217. Of those, the commission investigated 217 accusations and initiated formal proceedings in 9 instances. So we had almost 500 complaints come to the Judiciary Review Board. Out of the 481, let me get my calculator. I'm gonna be my deal here for a second. Yeah, I got an ad machine just like my deal. So we had 481 complaints. Oh, the battery fell out. Yeah, my kids have lost the back of my calculator, so my battery be falling out. Okay, so 481 cases. Out of that means 217 were investigated. So I guess 264 of them, they just took them and said, oh, it don't look like it's married, and threw it in the garbage. So they didn't investigate 264. Out of the 264, we know that 10 came from some of the victims here in Mississippi. So now we know where 10 of the cases went. But out of the 217 that were investigated, that means they said, well, 208 of these, no violation. And so only 9 of them actually ended up having things that were, traumatized. Here we go. Miss Clemens said, 1 filed on Nick Lazai in Lauderdale. Well, Mama Bear Clearman, we know yours was in one of those, so let me do the math. So we know out of 481, let's see, it was how many I say were thrown out? 264 were thrown out, so let's say 11 from there. So 253, so 11 was one of the ones that we know, so we can count for 11 of them. Hey, Mr. Akins, how you doing, man? Thank you so much for tuning in. Mr. Akins, please continue, stand strong. We're almost to victory. Just continue to hang in there. Miss Pamela Shields, keep getting in good. That's it. Your light is helping the ones stuck in the dark. Thank you so much, Miss Shields. Like you say, good trouble. Hey, I'm all for good trouble. We need some good trouble around here. That's the only way we're going to get things moved forward is by having good trouble. Speaking up for the things that are important to us. Now, y'all, if we're not through with story time, I got another story that's, I think, going to sum a lot of stuff up. I had all these tabs open a minute ago, but I closed them. Okay. So this is, I got another. All right, there we go. So I got that queued up. We're gonna get on that in just a moment. Mike Magazine, y'all. That's Cousin Angela, y'all. Cousin Angela up there in the Delta. What's going on, cousin? Mike Magazine, she does an amazing job. Angela, thank you, because Angela's been coming down here from Mike Magazine to cover these stories, as they've been breaking. And initially, we had a hard time getting, media outlets to pick it up because they don't want to go against the judges. They don't want to go against the judicial system. So, Cousin Angela, thank you so much for that. All right, so we're going to move on just a little bit more in our conversation about the First Amendment. Now, we have been talking about it, about looking on the national level, how we're seeing people lose their jobs because of the comments that they're making. And we've been, about the comments they've been making, and we've been tearing them apart about, well, what about freedom of speech, free speech? Free speech is coming to an end. Before we attack on the national level, we need to sweep around our own front door, which is right here at home in Mississippi, in Hinds County. Our First Amendment rights are under attack based upon what happened. A judge is trying to silence people from doing what the Constitution allows us to do. But let me tell you something. With Judge Crystal Wise Martin, this didn't just start. This is not something that she just recently did. I'm gonna take y'all back. Story time again. February 20th, 2025. Oh, before I do this, I did see a comment I wanted to address here. We're gonna get on that in just a moment. Mr. Glenn Odom says, we trust that judges follow the laws and make decisions based on facts and evidence. But as we know, there's sometimes bad apples in the bag. We vote on judges and generally know little about their credentials. Sounds like this judge is due a review. Mr. Odom, thank you for that comment. That's so true. And I know years ago when I went to vote, I didn't even know the person that was running. There were a few judicial positions. I didn't know anything about any of these people that were running for the judicial. I just picked the person that was the incumbent because I didn't know anything about them or about their platform. And so that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem. We don't know what they're doing. And so now we're letting everybody know what Judge Crystal Wise Martin is doing so that when election time comes, people can say, hey, is this the judge that we want representing us? Because if I have to go before her, am I going to get my fair day in court? And it's not, like I said, it's not to attack her. Nothing personal, no personal attack, but the attack is on the job that she's doing on the bench, which is not administering justice, which is what she was elected to do. And Ms. Megan Clear, you're my hero. You're so welcome, girl. You're my hero. Keep up the good work. That's right, y'all. There's Mama Bear over there. Ms. Donna Owens, thank you so much. Good evening to you. Ms. Owens, we having story time now. I'm interested to find out who's on, and I'm going to find out. That's it. That's going to be our next step to figure out what is going on. So story time again, y'all. All right. So this is from Mississippi Today, which I love Mississippi Today. They're Pulitzer Prize winning. They have so many awards and things that they won. Editorial: someone needs to read the First Amendment to Judge Crystal Wise Martin. Mississippi Today, y'all might get a call. Y'all might get a call tomorrow. The First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So that's the Constitution. So I'm going to read it. In the United States of America, we are free to criticize government from City Hall to the White House and to the House of Representatives, because they will get on me sometime. But hey, that's fine. This somewhat peculiar freedom enshrined in the First Amendment is the bedrock of our republic, and many have argued it's the wellhead, from which all of our other freedoms flow. The British Crown's use of sedition laws to put down dissent is a key reason we rose up and threw that yoke and have a First Amendment and a country. Someone needs to remind Hinds County Chancellor Crystal Wise Martin of this fundamental of America democracy and a few points of the law. Martin has issued a ruling that appears so unconstitutional, so anathema to accepted jurisprudence and so un-American that she's drawn attention and criticism nationwide and abroad. Mississippi, y'all got too many big words in here. I should have practiced this before I started reading it. But y'all know what I mean, though. Without even granting the newspaper a hearing, Martin issued a temporary restraining order against the Clarksdale Press Register after city officials sued. She ordered the newspaper to take down a February 8th editorial, Secrecy, Deception Erode Public Trust, from its online site and make it inaccessible to readers without a hearing. Let me take Mike down so y'all can see this. Without a hearing. So she ordered all of this without a hearing. Does that sound familiar to y'all? Without a hearing. Didn't I just tell y'all that she won't hear the motions that's sitting on her desk? When Mr. Akins was there for his last court date, he showed up with his support system, which was Mr. Leon Seals, Mr. Allison Sanders, Mr. Fred Chamberlain. And they were in the hall sitting outside of the courtroom waiting, and the bailiffs came and removed Mr. Chamberlain and Mr. Seals and made them leave. And they later came and approached Mr. Akins and told Mr. Akins that, oh, something came up with the judge and she can't have court today. So he waited all this time and couldn't even have court. And so they called him into the clerk's office, and the clerk had a document, which was an order that was issued by Judge Martin, and wanted him to sign the order without even hearing it. And he said, no, I'm not signing it. So that shows she didn't want to have a hearing. When she didn't have a hearing and gave a restraining order. The editorial criticized the city of Clarksdale officials for not providing the paper notice of a meeting, and it questioned city leaders' motives in asking the state legislature to allow creation of local tax on alcohol, marijuana, and tobacco. Will they add tea? City leaders did not like the editorial and sued, claiming it was libelous and hindered their efforts to lobby lawmakers for a tax. So basically, they were trying to get a new tax. So anytime you want to get an additional tax, like I'm going to talk about like a resort tax. So actually, City of Byron, we just recently did a restaurant tax for our parks and recs. So it was a 2% tax. And what happens is anytime a city wants to go up with a special tax assessment, they have to come through the legislature and we have to vote on it as a local and private bill. Well, what happened, they were trying to come to the legislature and get this passed without the citizens, without too much attention being put on it, kind of trying to sneak it in. And so what happened, the newspaper published this. And when the newspaper published it, the Board of Aldermen got upset in Clarksdale and said, we need that out because that's going to hurt our lobbying efforts, because they didn't want the constituents calling legislators saying, don't vote for it and we don't want it. Hey, Mr. Corey Roby, how you doing? And so power restraint of speech before adjudication that is not protected has long been held unconstitutional, dating back to early in U.S. law. And beside the wrongness of Soviet-style censorship order without granting due process to newspaper has also been longly and widely held in U.S. law that a government cannot sue for defamation or libel. So this goes more and more about, what happened with it. And so I put this out here because we're talking about the First Amendment, freedom of speech. So this shows right here that Judge Crystal Wise Martin doesn't, she doesn't, I gotta have it. I can't put it up because they'll see, even Mississippi, the New York Times had this article. This is the Associated Press. And so this shows right here that either she doesn't know the First Amendment, or, she doesn't care about it, or she thinks that judges have supreme authority to do what they, I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but that shows right there some misconduct for whatever reason. Now, after all of this broke, it became national news. Guess what happened? A Mississippi judge ordered a newspaper to remove, wait a minute, no, this is not the one I wanted. This is the same one, but I'm gonna show y'all what happened. I'm gonna make sure I post all these on my page so y'all can go back and read them later. Okay, here we go. Whoa, this is an actual filing. Okay, order grant temporary restraining order. So something else I wanted to show y'all. Wait a minute. So what happened was, I'm gonna show y'all something. I'm gonna have to find it. Give me a second, y'all. I'm gonna find it in just a minute. It's another thing that covered it. That's the New York Times, and y'all didn't want me to pay for it. Come on, y'all. Create a free account. Y'all, let me see. I need to get a subscription to the New York Times. I read it all the time, but I done ran out of my things. So let me see. They did an article on me when I was first elected, and I became a fan after that. Okay. All right, so let me show y'all. This is what I wanted to show you right here. I found an article. So the New York Times, Mississippi judge lifts order that forced newspaper to remove an editorial. The judge's order against the Clarksdale Press Register in Clarksdale, Mississippi had alarmed press advocates who said it was a violation of the First Amendment. A Mississippi judge on Wednesday lifted an order she had issued that required the newspaper to remove an editorial. The judge, Crystal Wise Martin of Hinds County, lifted the order after Clarksdale city officials voted earlier this week to abandon their libel lawsuit against the local paper. As I warned them, it blew up in their face and it created a national outcry, he said. It embarrassed the city and they realized what had been done and it was a mistake. So here we go. I did an interview with Queen City Newsfeed a month ago and they haven't aired it yet, but no news in Meridian will cover anything. Angela, Mike, that's how it is. Ms. Clearman, it's sad. They're afraid. They're afraid of the judges because they're afraid of the pushback. When we initially started on this journey, none of the media outlets would cover it. We would reach out and they wouldn't cover it. But we had 6 or 7 outlets that were out there at this last press conference. They're covering it because it's picking up traction and so many people are coming forward with their stories that they know is some legitimacy to it. And this is not just an unhappy person that went to court and they're unhappy with the judge's findings. But I just want to be direct in this and say that I'm not backing down. We are not backing down. We are going to continue to challenge this judge in Meridian, Ms. Clearman, any of these judges out here that are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, Ms. Dolly, can you text that to me, please? Text it. I can't pull it up on here. Text me that link. But we're not going anywhere. We're going to continue to challenge these judges until they do the right thing. I'm gonna tell y'all a story. Let me make sure I got the facts straight. I'm going to tell y'all just a quick story, and I want y'all to look at this. It is I just want to get the name, make sure I got everything right. Like I said, I like to have everything. All right, so Ms. Agan said, no justice, no peace. Ms. Clemmer said, we are a strong team. Ms. Clemmer, they just don't know what we're working with, do they just don't understand that our team is so strong that the harder the opposition gets, the harder we're going to push back, because we know that we are doing the right thing and we're on the right path. Mr. Hobson said, don't lead a ranking. That's it. We're not going to lead the judges in Rankin County out. Anybody is sitting on this bench and not administering proper justice, we're going to bring it to the light, because everybody deserves fair justice. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter your race, your gender, sexual orientation. Nothing matters. People are people. When you're elected as a judge, you're not supposed to be looking at anything but the facts relating to the case. And everybody should be able to get their fair day in court. Political influence, monetary influence, socioeconomic status, all this stuff has to go out of the window. That's why we're in the position we're in now. But I want to tell y'all a little story about how this is going to backfire on Judge Crystal Wise Martin. Back during the Civil Rights Movement, there was this very strong, powerful lady. Her name was Miss Fannie Lou Hamer. She endured so much, born right here in Mississippi, up in the Mississippi Delta. She endured so much. And it's hard for me to tell this story. So Miss Hamer, at this time, she was trying to register to vote. There was so much opposition, that was going on. And things that were happening in here in Mississippi to restrict African Americans from being registered to vote. I'm gonna get to the story in a minute, y'all. I'm sorry. It's really hard when I think of everything that that we've endured, and how we have how we've moved. We've taken a step forward and 10 steps backward. I'm going to come back to that story in a minute, y'all. Just give me a moment on it. Yeah. Hobson, they're going to add you to the Miss Bowman. Yeah, I know he's going to be there tomorrow. He's going to have him a little letter in the mail tomorrow. But that's okay, y'all. Like I said, we're not going to back down. It's just, we're getting too close to victory. We're getting too close to where we need to be. We're finally getting light shed on the issues that we have going on. Y'all, I'm looking for another article here. Y'all just got all these articles and stuff. Y'all, I'm sorry. I'll be with y'all in just a moment. So back to the story. I think I can get it out now. Fannie Lou Hamer, she's saying this. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. That stuck with me. My mom taught me the history about Miss Hamer when I was a little boy. So Fannie Lou Hamer, she ran for Mississippi House of Representatives in 1964, and she was going to be challenging a segregationalist, which was a Democrat, but she was denied a spot on the ballot because of the color of her skin. And so she was one of the founders of what's called the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, which is still around. But she ran as a candidate in an attempt, but she didn't win it. And so what she did is she challenged the Mississippi white-controlled Democratic Party because she was having issues getting put on a ballot. And so she went. So she testified before the Credentials Committee at the 1964 Democratic National Convention because they wouldn't let her get on the ballot. So she went to testify. So when she was getting ready to testify, President Lyndon B. Johnson, he did not want the country to hear Miss Hamer's story because he didn't want the country to be in an uproar. He didn't want it to get out. It was only in Mississippi. That's before we had social media, Facebook, and all that. So you only had radio and TV. So can you imagine how impactful her testimony was? So what Lyndon B. Johnson did is, right when she took the seat and took the microphone, he called a press conference. And so anytime the president calls a press conference or breaking news, guess what happens? All of the news outlets shut down. Every channel is going to go to breaking news, breaking news. And so he had a powerful, whenever that happens, whenever the president does it, I mean, he's getting ready to really spill something, and he's getting ready to really talk about something, that's really happening, right? So his announcement was a press conference announcing that his press aide, which was Walter Jenkins, will remain in his post. And I think he announced maybe like somebody's birthday. I think it was a birthday or something that was irrelevant. It wasn't breaking news. But Lyndon B. Johnson did this because he wanted to take the focus off of Fannie Lou Hamer's testimony. And he wanted to kill the story because he know, well, the story is not going to go anywhere. Now I'm gonna fix that. But Judge Crystal Wise Martin, that backfired on him. Know why? Because every single news outlet said, what is it that this Black lady has to say that's so important that the president of the United States will call a fake press conference? They picked up the footage of Fannie Lou Hamer's testimony and they reran it over and over and over and over and over and over and over for so many days. And it got much more attention than it would have gotten if he had not done what he did. So I say that to say to Judge Crystal Wise Martin, with your actions and with you're trying to silence people, that's only going to start to make people wonder, why are you trying to silence people? Are you trying to silence people because there's some legitimacy to the story? There's legitimacy to the claims that are being made. So when you think you're doing things to hurt a person, you have to be careful because a lot of times that can backfire on you. The saying is, when you dig a ditch for a person, you need to dig another one for yourself. And this stuff has to stop. I will continue to be vocal about it. I will not stop talking about this case. I will not stop talking about other cases that are in your courtroom where there's evidence and proof that there's some things that happening that should not be happening. If you want me to stop talking about it, do the right thing by these people. Do the right thing by these cases. If you want me to stop talking about it, do the right thing so that I can come on here and say, Judge Crystal Wise Martin, we appreciate the job that you're doing. And if anybody follows me on social media, you will see that I talk positively about everybody, all of our elected officials. I don't talk negative about anybody. I want to uplift our community. I want to uplift other people. But this right here, I can't uplift you. I can't condone something that's wrong, that's not fair. When people are hurting, families are hurting, children are hurting. I mean, there's so many people that are out here hurting. And okay, I got an article. This is another article in. Y'all take care of me. Thank y'all for the articles. Thank y'all for the articles. We're gonna pull this up we're gonna cue it up in just a moment. But I just, I cannot, because I can't sit by and allow things like this to happen. I mean, and Judge Martin. I don't know Judge Martin personally. I've seen her in passing. I've spoken with her. I've seen her on panels. I think she's seen me on panels. So I don't know her. I don't know her personally. I mean, I don't care to know her personally. I don't care to know anybody, any elected official personally. I care about the job that they're doing. That's all that matters to me, is the job that they're doing. Y'all, we got another article here we're gonna look at. Hold on for me, y'all. Let me get this one queued up. Y'all, I guess it's just show and tell night tonight, huh? I gotta get this is it right here. Here we go. Let me make sure I got this window up here right. All right. Make sure I ain't got no crazy stuff on my screen over here. I don't. Okay. Here we go. So, is this the right one? Nope, that's the wrong screen. I had it up there. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna have to redo it. Sure. Yeah, I'm becoming a professional over here. Stop screen. Don't let me speak too soon, because I'd have messed some up. No, I didn't. There we go. All right. Uniquely egregious. Judge orders newspaper to delete editorial criticizing government. Without even conducting a hearing, a Mississippi judge ordered a local newspaper to remove an editorial criticizing local officials over lack of transparency. Seth Stearns, who is a director of advocacy for the Freedom of the Press Foundation, told The Independent that this case was uniquely egregious. It's hard to imagine a more unconstitutional order than one compelling a newspaper to take down an editorial critical of the government, he said. And it's particularly ironic when the editorial in question is about government secrecy undermining the public trust. If anyone previously trusted the secretive officials involved in the censorship campaign, they should now. Wow. Oh, y'all, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong screen. Y'all can't see. Wait a minute. Ain't nobody told me nothing. Let me see. Here we go, y'all. I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all couldn't even see my screen. But yeah, this is it right here. That's what I just read to y'all. Ms. Aiken said, why is she trying to silence us? She doesn't want the truth to come out. That's it. She doesn't want the truth to come out. And Mr. Aikens, this is my thing. Yeah, this is my thing. It's obvious that she doesn't want the truth to come out. But as a judge, when you're making rulings and you're administering justice, you should want closure to cases. I don't understand. And out of so many of these cases that we've seen here lately, most of them are still open. I don't know many of them that have been closed. But when you're administering justice, you should, if a person is an unfit parent and you have proof that this person is an unfit parent and you have a modified custody agreement based upon that modification, then you should be confident. Text on social media. What in the world? You should be confident in your ruling. Meaning, if you took a person's child away from them, and this child has been away from the mother for 3 years, 3 whole years, Now, just being in a normal mindset, in a normal state of mind, a normal mind frame for myself, if I were a judge and I see that this parent is unfit or a mother is unfit enough for me to take this child away for 3 years with a no contact order on the mother, meaning the mother can't have any communication with the child. If I see that mother being a dangerous threat or a threat to this child, I would have absolutely no problem putting this in an order, putting it in writing, and being done with the case. But I would not keep the case open for speculation. And so if there were, if her ruling, custody order and all of that, if that was validated and justified, why is it not documented? And why is it now that you want people to be silent about it? Now you can get on the bench and tear families apart, hurt people, unfair legal rulings, but you don't want anybody to say, well, I guess you want what happens in the courtroom to stay in the courtroom, no matter who is hurting or how you're hurting people. And this is not just something that I picked up and I'm just here talking about random cases. These are people that are coming because they've been hurt by your rulings. And so if you are so bothered by people discussing your rulings or lack thereof, then maybe you should give better rulings. Maybe you should be applying the law. Maybe you should be saying, I'm ruling this way and I can justify while I rule this way. Now, judges, of course, cannot comment on cases. It's, with the rules, they can't comment on the cases, but you can give a ruling, and then in your ruling, you can include an opinion, and you can state case law as to why you ruled in the way you ruled. And that way, when it comes to the media, they can look at your actual ruling on paper, and they can look at the ruling and they say, well, Judge Crystal Wise ruled X, Y, Z because according to Mississippi Code Section 58-1-23, this fits into this category. But they can't do that because guess what? You won't close any of your cases. You won't give a final ruling. You'll just float things along until I guess the child ages out of, gets old enough where they're an adult. I don't know. Like I say, I don't want to speculate because I don't know, where your mind is on that. But Judge Martin, just want to ask you to do the right thing. Hopefully this motion is sitting before you now, that's been sitting with you for over 30 days. Hopefully you will get it scheduled for a hearing soon for the Sanders family, and you can address that motion. And I mean, we're here. We're going to keep on until we get to where we need to be. Mr. Hobson has some things going on over in Rankin County that Ms. Bowman is helping him with. And we're going to keep on going to Mama Bear, Miss Clearman, out there. Keep your head held up, lady. Keep on fighting. Y'all, Miss Clearman has so much fire in her. Just keep that fire. Don't let that fire burn out. Don't let this world take your fire away. Continue to be strong for your family. Y'all, Miss Dolly, I call her Miss Dolly, Miss Dollisa Sanders. Miss Dollisa Sanders is the reason that we are here right now, that everybody's put together because of her courage to be the first one here in Hinds County to actually take a stance and not be afraid to speak up. She's been going through this for several years, and I've been right there with this family, and I've been telling them, hey, let's do it this way. We're going through every channel, attorney after attorney, trying to handle it using the process and procedures that were in place to get it handled. And none of it worked. And this is what it came to. When you take everything from somebody, you took this child, you took her grandchild, you took Miss Kenitra Sanders, her son, you took everything away from them. And you expect them to just crawl up in the corner and allow it to happen without saying a word and not fighting for their child. I don't know any parent, any grandparent, any uncle, any cousin, anybody that would allow a judge to take their child for 3 years with a no contact order when they've done absolutely nothing wrong. Nobody. Yeah, Ms. Clement, I know that you've been dealing with the school resource officer, and that's sad. That's sad, but that's okay, Ms. Clement, because we finna shake things up over there in Lauderdale County. We on the way. Ms. Dolly, I appreciate you. I appreciate you more than you appreciate me, because looking at the light that you have shared on things that we have going on. I mean, it's people every single day calling, reaching out. It was another instance. I talked to one of my colleagues. One of my colleagues called me and said that somebody saw she had a House of Representatives. She was in the parade, had a House of Representatives on on the truck, and they saw that and they were hollering, "There he is! There he is! Is he in there?" No, it was a lady driving, but they saw House of Representatives and they thought that it was me, and so the people approached her and said, "Hey, is Representative Nelson out here? We want to talk to him because we have an issue that we have going on right now, and we know that he fights for his people, and we want to talk to him because we need some help." And so, that's just a good feeling to know that people know that there's somebody here that cares about them, that's going to fight for them no matter what. The scrutiny, the stuff that's coming, the gossip, the mess, the fake profiles, the fake messages, all the stuff that's going on out there. I mean, I'm built for it. I don't pay attention to it. I care about my people too much to just allow that to really get in the way of the work and the progress. And I'm gonna tell you, the good Lord keeps me anchored. That's who keeps me anchored and keeps my feet solid. What's going on with you, Mr. Stamps? So that Stamps Performance Horse and Rescue. Y'all, Mr. Stamps, he out there chasing snakes, dogs, cats, everything. He's chasing everything out there. That's our animal control officer here in Byram. And we're trying to get him back down in Terry, Mississippi as our animal control, because I've had a few calls with people dealing with issues and we don't have an animal control officer. We haven't had one in Terry for probably about 2 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Stamps, about 2 years or so. It's been a minute since we've had animal control, so we got to get somebody down there. Ms. Clement, you're right. That's how you know you're doing God's work. That's it. When you are able to sit here and get beat down every single day, just get beat down, plummeted every single day, but you're still able to smile and you're still able to go to bed at night with a smile on your face. That's how you know you're walking in your purpose and you're doing what God has for you to do. That's how you know that you're doing the right thing and that you're on that you're on the path, of what's right. And for me, when I see that it's one more family that I've been able to help, all of that negative stuff and all of that negative drama, it goes away. I have no problem. People ask me, why do you do what you do? Why do you put yourself out there like that when you don't have to? And I tell them, I do that because it's this family today, it could be my family tomorrow. I know where I am right now, but I don't know where I'm going to be next week. I know where my son is right now, but I don't know where my grandchildren are going to be, where my great-great-grandchildren are going to be. And the stuff that's happening to these people right around here, I don't wish that on my worst enemy, yet alone anybody in my family. And so I'm fighting now to make sure that there are things in place to protect every people in the generations that are going to come after us, because I'm not going to be here forever to protect my family. But we got to make sure that we're laying a path. And Judge Crystal Wise Martin, all these other judges out here, any elected official, any person in general, you know where you are right now, but you don't know where you're going to be in the future. You don't know where your family is going to be, what your family is going to experience, what your family is going to go through. And y'all see my hair. I'm still green. Y'all see my hair is doggone near white. Yep. They say with gray hair come wisdom, though, so I got a lot of wisdom. We're going to stay prayed up and put the full armor of God on. We are making the devil mad, and I love it. Don't it feel good? Like they say, stomp on his head. Don't it feel good, y'all? Stomping on the devil's head. It feels good, y'all. It feels good. I tell folks all the time, Thieves don't break in empty houses. Robbers, whatever, they don't break in empty houses. Whenever a robber gonna break in somewhere, he's gonna go after something that he has to, he can actually steal. The devil is not going to attack you unless it's something that he has that you won't. He's going to attack you because he want to break your faith. He want to break your family up. With our children, he sees greatness in our kids. And when he sees that greatness in our kids, he wants to do every single thing he can to break these kids and win them over. Because once the devil has won you over, he's done his job. Once he have you in his army and one of his own, he's going to start moving on to the next thing. So that's how it is. Thank you, Miss Johnson. Stay encouraged. Miss Johnson, we're staying encouraged and we're staying prayed up, and we know this is going to work out. And y'all, I'm going to tell y'all, when we're able, the Warriors, our people are not victims, they're warriors. And so one of these days, we're going to have a warrior reunion where our warriors are going to be able to come together with their families, with their children. Everybody that's been victimized are going to all be able to come together and look at the work that we have done to end this corruption that we're seeing. Because that's what it is. It's corruption. This corruption that we're seeing. There's so many people that reach out. I don't want to be on the record. I don't want to say anything about it, but y'all doing a good thing, because it is. It's so bad down there. That's not benefiting us. When you calling us, you're calling us confirming what we already know, but you're not willing to step up and take a stance on things. And so, I mean, it's good. Yeah, I appreciate y'all acknowledging it, but we need people that's going to take a stance on things and stand there with us, because there's power in numbers, and we're going to continue to build. I had a family reach out to me, an entire family, probably 30, 40 people in the family that's been dealing with some issues down in this courtroom, and we're going to get them all together, and we're going to talk about it. This isn't a custody issue. This is an issue of, it's a property issue. And I haven't said much about it because, as I told y'all earlier, I don't talk about things until I have the facts in front of me. And so when I have the facts in front of me, and I've spoken with people, and I verify, and I don't doubt it. I don't doubt this family at all. But after I have all the facts in front of me, we've thoroughly investigated it, then we're going to start talking about it, because it's just flat out wrong. All right, y'all, I'm getting off of here. I have homework to do. So I got homework to do, y'all. So I got homework to do. Got to get ready for a Friday. A very, very busy Saturday. On Saturday, we have a community cleanup. We're cleaning up about 5 different streets Saturday. After that, I will be at Tougaloo College for a legislative panel at 12 around noon. And after that, I have another event I'm going to. I'm excited about. I'm not going to tell y'all what it is, so y'all have to see when I get there. But all right, y'all have a great night. Please keep me in your prayers on this journey. Not only me, keep our warriors in your prayers on this journey. And the prayer is that they continue to have the courage and continue to have the strength to stay in this race, because this race will wear you down. If you don't have the strength and the courage, it will wear you down. It will wear you out. But warriors, when I tell y'all, I'm rejoicing because I see it. I see how close we are to getting the justice that y'all deserve. I see it. It's right here. It's right here. It's within arm's reach. It is coming. It's coming. It's coming. Ms. Clearman, you're very welcome. I wouldn't have it any other way. And Ms. Clearman, you have a great weekend. And as you know, if you ever need me, you need to talk, blow off some steam, I'm right here. But when I tell you we're coming through Meridian like a wrecking ball real soon, we will be there. And just make sure you keep your receipts, because receipts will tell the story. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great evening. As always, feel free to reach out. You got issues going on? Anybody got issues going on? Reach out. Let us know. Definitely, we want to look into it. We want to make sure that everybody is being treated fairly here, and I'm just here all over. This stuff has gone on too long. It's gone on entirely too long, and we got to put an end to it, and it's going to stop right now. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great evening, or a great night, rather. I got to find me something to eat. I ain't had nothing to eat, y'all.